Hi, my name is Brian Sir. I'm with the tech marketing team here at Nutanix. And today we're going to look at template placement policies. These policies control the placement of your VM templates across your environment. So by default, a VM template, when it's created, it just lives on the cluster that it was created on. Other clusters within the Prism Central can utilize it, but it will have to fetch the data at the time of provisioning if it was not already there. With these placement policies, you can ahead of time create a policy, assign that policy to a group of clusters and to a template or group of templates, and it will automatically push the template out ahead of time to all the clusters with the assigned policy. That way the template data is there waiting at the time of provisioning and does not need to be fetched. We're already logged into Prism Central. Let's get started. So first, let's expand the compute and go to the template section. So in this scenario, we'll just use the idea of a template for VDI deployment because it's simple and it makes very sense. You could use these policies to move templates around your environment for any type of templates for server, images, etc. So we have our Windows 10 persistent template here. Now let's go down to administration and look at categories. So to save a little bit of time, I've pre-created some categories. They only take a few moments. I created a high-level category that has templates, which has data points below it for non-persistent and persistent clusters, and then there's a Windows 10 option here for the gold image. So let's hop back to infrastructure and get started with this policy. So we'll go back to templates, and what we need to do is assign our categories first. So we're going to assign our category to our template. So let's select it, go to manage category, and it started with Windows 10, so we just created one, so it's the only one there, so we will select it and then save, and we've added our category to our template. Next, we need to do the same thing for our clusters, and then I'll explain how this all comes together when we create the placement policy. So we open up hardware, go to clusters. Let's go to manage categories. And then we're going to use the persistent one. So there's a non-persistent and a persistent. We'll select the persistent one just to stay clear with our story that we're telling. Save this, and then I'll repeat this step for the other cluster. All right, so we've assigned categories to both of our clusters and to our template. So let's go back to templates. Go to policies and placement policies, and now let's create our new placement policy and call it a, and then what we need to do is select those same categories here. So for template category, this is going to be our Windows 10 based one, so we will select the template they've created. It's going to let us know that there is already one template that has this category assigned to it. And let's do the same thing for our cluster-based one. So we had the persistent, and you can see it's peaking that there's two clusters. And when I select that, it will show us that there's two clusters. So what this placement policy is doing is it's taking any template that has this assigned category and will automatically push it out to any clusters that are tagged with this category. So by default, we created this template on one of these two clusters, so it's already there. And without this policy, you can certainly deploy that template on the other cluster that it's not, that the template's not located on. What will happen is at the point of deploying the virtual machine from that template on that other cluster, it will then need to go and fetch the data from that template. So this causes a bit of a delay. If you're in a data center, the cluster is next to each other, the image is not very big, it's probably a pretty short delay. But if it's a large image and it's deploying at a remote site with bandwidth constraints, then it could delay the deployment a little bit based upon how long it takes to move those bits. When it's part of a policy like this, as soon as we create this policy, it will begin pushing out the template the clusters that it was assigned to, pretty much right when we click save. So then when I go and do my deployment of that template, the bits from that template are already there waiting for us. So let's get this assigned, and Prism will start pushing out that data to my other cluster. And you can see how simple it is to make sure that my template is located on all the clusters. That way, in this scenario with the VDI deployment, if I've got 2 or 200 clusters and I assign this template to them, it will begin to start to push that template out to all those. So when it's time to do an update or a new deployment, the data is there waiting, and I can deploy my template image with ease. Thanks for tuning in and learning a bit about template placement policies.